the COMEX exchange. In the financial system, they have something called SLV and GLD. This is paper, gold, and silver. What they do in this financial system is they paper over the silver and gold market. What they're doing is you're just papering over the silver market, but there's not enough silver in existence. Price is being controlled by the United States and the Western financial system. So right now you have over 400x on the paper supply. The COMEX exchange has 100 million ounces of silver left in the vault that can be sold. And there's 400 million ounces of contracts. 98% of those contracts are asking for delivery. And a lot of times they never ask for delivery, rolled into the following month, and it keeps going. There's a problem right now because 98% of the people are starting to ask for the delivery of the silver. So that means they would have to deliver 400 million ounces, and they only have 100 million left.
Podcast twins, and I am amped up today, Vince. We got Russ Cohen back in the studio in the Twin Cave. Tell him what to do, and then we'll get started with Russ.
He's amped up, and you see we have no more coffee shots on the table.
So
So
tequila for this episode.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to state, that we might have switched out the wrong beverages for this episode because it's going to be that hot. But before we get started, once again, I want you to go ahead and click that subscribe button. Just do us a favor. And also make sure you hit the share button and share it with somebody else who might want to up their money game or might want to hear some of this quote unquote conspiracy theory stuff, because this is going to be a goddamn good fun episode, and I can't wait to get into this.
We get deep into health today. We're going to get deep into financial health.
Well, it's still financial health. It's financial health.
And before we even start talking to Russ,
okay,
you thought it might be a good idea to get some background.
I did.
So you got a couple questions.
Yeah.
But first, before we even do that, we should definitely thank him for telling us to buy silver back in July last year or June last year.
June.
I think it was 2 years ago, maybe.
No, I don't think it was that.
It was last year because it was in the 30s.
It was
27. I didn't get it till it was 30.
It was $27 an ounce when he told us to buy it.
And so
by the time we launched the episode, I think it was 29. And then what is it today? What do you
75. Right?
75.
So it went up to 110 or 112 or oh my god. And then obviously there's a correction, a pullback. But is it going to go to 200?
There was a pullback, but there's a story behind the
let's go there then.
Well,
let's go there. Go ahead, get
let's
the back.
walk him into, because he's been here several times.
We want to know more about you
and
brought
big time gems to us. We want to give this opportunity for Russ to give us a little bit about his background. It'll kind of maybe help us understand why he's in here throwing darts and arrows and hitting on most, if not all.
Let's go.
So
Russ,
give us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. So, well, thank you for having me on. And anything I say is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor.
This is all for entertainment.
Right. So if you're curious on what I say, do your research, talk to friends, family, your financial advisor. Never put your life savings into anything. You always want to be diversified.
Russ had lunch with his attorney right before he came here.
Boom. There it is. Disclosure.
But listen, you might get lucky. You might make a lot of money. Yeah. But so I'm an M&A advisor. I own my own company called South Florida M&A Advisors, and I've been selling businesses.
What's M&A?
Mergers and acquisitions.
Okay.
Since 1999. But I've been doing that as how I make a living. But once we got into COVID, I started to see that the America that I grew up in is not the same. And so I started going down the rabbit hole. I started investing in crypto. And once you start investing in digital assets, it leads you a lot of different places. And then your eyes start opening up. And then I started to dive into the financial system. And I started to realize, well, what led us to believe to be, so pure is not so pure. And it became an obsession because you spend your entire life building your net worth, you work your entire life, and we're such at a pivotal time in this 100-year cycle that it's now become like a hobby of mine. Playing golf, working, family, learning about the Ponzi scheme that the financial system that we're in, digital assets. I've really taken a stronghold to digital assets because it is the future, and learned about silver and gold and why it's so important to this point in time. So I dedicate a lot of hours listening to smart people, understanding why they say what's going on, and um, and I spend a lot of hours
So,
at nighttime.
what do
What?
you think the biggest scam is? Because Vince and I had another guest on here, and he had mentioned that he thought insurance was the biggest scam. You mentioned that you said like
Absolutely.
insurance. What do you think is the financial system as a whole the biggest scam? Is it insurance? Is it pharma? Is it food? Like, what's the
Yeah,
you've
I mean, listen,
researched this
there's
stuff
there
extensively.
are issues on all those fronts,
Okay.
no doubt about it. But money is dear to all our hearts because we work most of our lives. So without our savings and
Yeah, we trade our time
right,
for
right,
money, of
for money,
course.
right,
Yeah.
and so there's a reason why they don't teach you finance in high school or college. It's a secret, and they try to make it very complicated. They don't want you to understand the financial system. And
Hmm.
the less you know about the financial system, the more that you're asleep.
Right.
And if you're asleep, eventually, we're in that time frame. Many generations since 1929 have been able to succeed of the dollar being the reserve currency and being the most important asset in the world as capital. But now we're at this fourth something called the fourth turning, which is like a flipping of the financial system, okay, which happens every 100 years. So here we are,
Mm.
and 99% of people are sleeping,
Mm.
okay, and
Yeah,
there's
you mentioned
obvious
that. You
obvious
mentioned.
signs that it's going on, and the cracks are there. The It's a major cover up going on between the Federal Reserve, the government, and the politicians. Manipulations going on. So unfortunately, the sheep, the masses, are going to have some major problems going forward. And the people that are awake are going to put themselves in the position to be the future
Yeah, I mean, you made
wealthy
a
people.
comment way back almost a year ago now that, you said something that if you have $3,000 worth of silver, you're going to be in the top 1%.
Yeah,
Should your prognostication of, the
Hmm.
every 100-year cycle and everything become true?
most people are, you got your financial advisors. Everyone is in their ETFs. They're in the stock market.
Yeah.
They're in the bond market, and you're the bullseye for the collapse.
Yeah.
Basically,
Hmm.
that's we're at the
Mm.
right now. The America is with the reserve is on the tallest ladder,
Mhm.
and we're falling off the tallest ladder. Okay, and if you keep your money in the system, okay, you are the target of the wealth transfer. It's wealth will just transfer to the people that are in the opposite
Yeah.
asset class, the
Right.
the gold and
The
silver.
contrarian,
Right,
the
exactly.
contrarian view.
So money
Okay.
doesn't go away; it just gets moved to another
Mm.
side of
Yeah.
the equation.
No, I
So
mean,
we're here to wake you up. Bottom line is,
Yeah.
you got to wake up because this is it. You're starting to see the obvious signals that are coming at us.
Mm.
yeah, and I mean, we talked about before, there's so many distractions out there. And then another distraction, Vince and I were talking about it at lunch today. The news cycle gives you enough to be interested and care. And then as soon as you stop caring about that, they give you something new to care about,
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
So,
I
and
don't
then
watch Fox. I don't watch
no, but
ABC.
then you see like, okay, well,
Don't bother with it.
like, but
Yeah.
you see like, oh, the Epstein files came out, more Epstein files came out, and then all of a sudden you hear behind the scenes that 5 countries just announced they got a cure for cancer. So
Right.
like, what else are they covering up by like doing the smoke and mirrors show, the circus and bread we
Listen, the
call it?
media is owned by a couple of companies, a couple of
Yeah,
people.
Yeah.
It's all programmed. They're,
Scripted.
they're, they're scripted, telling what to say. Um,
yeah,
because
and the
that's
pharmaceutical companies own them. That's not in dispute. We know that.
yeah,
We know
Yeah.
it's a
It,
shame. You know.
you mentioned the America you grew up in, and I guess that's kind of where I was kind of digging because as you were coming up, you know, obviously you began to you own a company of mergers and acquisitions. That's not what most kids would grow up understanding,
Right.
even going to general college areas. So give us a kind of idea how you kind of was exposed to that kind of life so you understood how to go into that kind of market.
Sure. I mean, obviously, I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't go to Penn or anything. Went to a normal college. University of Miami. You don't have to be today. You got to be really smart, but back then,
It's all about the U,
yeah, that
baby.
was a good run. Very happy with
I
it.
got into
Yeah,
a college I
yeah,
couldn't get into it today,
you know.
so
Yeah.
I'm sure I understand that.
So basically, I got into sales. I was selling copiers out of college. Worked for a large copier firm called Linear, and then I worked for a PEO, which is professional employment, payroll and benefits, and then I jumped into business brokering in 1999, which then really allowed me to mature at 26 years later. I'm studying financial statements and working with business owners, trying to help them exit their business.
Mm.
So
The
listen,
numbers just
I
got bigger as you went.
yeah, I mean,
Basically,
I've evolved over my career, and I was asleep many, many years until I woke up in 2020 and started. I read a article, or I subscribed to a subscription where they were saying that digital assets will be between 2020 and 2030. There will be a 90% adoption rate of digital assets, and they compared it to the electric vehicle, where it would take 40, 50 years to adopt electric vehicles into society.
and
And I'm
now we
like,
found
okay.
out longer
And
than
I'm
that
like,
because we
wow,
don't have the
okay, so right,
resources to make them.
and
Yeah,
there's lots of electric vehicles, but a lot of people like me are still driving around in gas cars. So I said,
Yeah.
okay, now digital assets are going to get adopted within 10 years, and there's 7 billion people. Okay, we got something going on here. And I said, okay, I got to start learning about this. And of course, I feel like I'm very early, and we're still very early. But it is the future. It is the future system of everything will go on chain. Everything in the world will go on chain. Your house,
Mm.
your gold, your silver, your cars, your bonds, your stocks, your derivatives, you name it, every asset is planned to go on chain. Now, and we're going to circle around, but through my research, um, and through people that I subscribe to on YouTube and pay for research and everything, um, Larry Fink talks about a unified ledger. Always talks about this unified, and for years and years, we're like, what is this unified ledger? Well, it came out, and they're talking about the Canton Network. Okay, it's the symbols are CC, and you can buy it on Kraken. Okay, but reason why this crypto will become the number one digital asset in the world. Okay, it will blow right by Bitcoin like it's standing still. Okay, and let me explain why. Because as they move everything on chain, the banks need a privacy layer, because each bank doesn't want other banks to know what they're doing.
yeah. Because how else could they launder the money for
Yeah,
for
right.
the drug dealers? Sure, of
So
course.
they need a privacy layer. So Canton Network is a privacy layer for institutional money, and that's big money. So who runs it?
Billions and trillions.
Right,
We're talking
trillion. We're
about
talking
trillion.
trillions.
Yeah,
Who
trillions of
runs the
dollars.
nodes on Canton? Nasdaq. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How big is Nasdaq?
Pretty
Okay.
large. Pretty
Okay.
I've
large.
heard of Nasdaq.
Have you heard of the DTCC? I talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
They All the money in the Western financial system in the United States runs through the DTCC. You're talking about the derivative complex, 3 quadrillion. You're talking about all stocks and bonds. It all is the clearinghouse, is the DT, and they run a node. Okay, so ding, 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 ding. Okay, Canton's important. Okay, so they also are going to be running the real world assets. When they convert the stock market onto a tokenized ledger, it's running through the Canton Network. Okay, that's huge. Okay, so Canton is a home run, and it's sitting at a 1.5 billion market cap. So they announced the other day, a couple of weeks ago, let's say, that they're going to tokenize $99 trillion worth of treasuries. Okay, $99 trillion worth of treasuries. Okay, that that we haven't even started talking about the derivative marketplace, which is 3 quadrillion worth of bets. So this Canton Network is the real deal. All the banks are in it. European banks, JP Morgan, Citibank, Bank of America, they're all, it's an incredible amount of partnerships that are going on. So that is your not your Bitcoin killer. It's just going to fly by it. And they're gonna be the number one crypto once they flip the switch.
We're the podcast twins. I'm Drew. That's Vince. Gold and silver aren't just history, they're security. That's why we partner with Miles Franklin.
And if you just call 952-929-7006, or email them at info@milesfranklin.com. Tell them that the podcast twin sent you. You'll get preferred pricing and you'll get very well taken care of by them.
Real talk, real value, Miles Franklin.
Now there's
Mm.
all these, they're gonna tokenize stocks. They're gonna do everything. You need a crypto that's gonna be a real world asset crypto. So there's a crypto called Rise, RIZE, which is the real world asset layer of the Canton Network. Okay, so you got the Canton privacy layer. The Rise crypto is the RWA layer. Okay, and right there, home run in the digital asset. It's going to be monster. And then you had, we all know about Swift financial system. That's the U.S.
Yeah.
financial system that moves cross-border payments and everything. Everything runs through Swift digital messaging. Trump said the other day we're going to get a 21st century upgrade. Okay, and they're talking about moving to Swift on chain. They just signed a deal with Linea, LINEA. Okay, crypto, digital asset, and they're going to be doing $150 trillion worth of cross-border payments. Okay, and who's behind Linea? Is Consensus, which is part of Ethereum. Okay, see how it all ties in. So now the big money is running through Linea. The bigger money is running through Canton, and the RWA of Canton is Rise.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so now this didn't exist a year ago, and all of a sudden, if you're paying attention to the digital asset market, it is all over the internet. It's all over YouTube, and people are doing the research, and they're saying these three cryptos are going to be heavily involved in the next financial system as they go on chain. So and there's a lot of other cryptos, but these will be really, really big monsters. There's a lot of other HVAR, XRP. The XRP army's freaking out. They all thought that XRP was going to be running the cross-border payments, and the XRP army is in denial right now. But it looks like these three cryptos are going to be pretty significant upon the flip of the switch when that crisis hits.
But 6 months from now, are we going to have 3 more to look at that are going to replace these like they have? Because it's been dynamic.
Well, keep in mind there's 135 countries. They're all a lot of these countries are going to have CBDCs, and each country will make a decision on how they're going to have their rails of their financial system.
What
You know
about
what I mean? So
the
there'll be other blockchains
yeah,
that will
yeah.
have that CBDC.
What about the countries that are having these huge protests that I'm hearing about? Where they're protesting hard against digital ID. I mean,
Well, give me a country. Which country is that?
man, I think it was Italy was one of them.
Well, they're part of the European Union.
Right.
They can protest all they want, but
It's coming. It's coming.
Europe is like complete socialism,
and there's nothing to stop them here in the U.S. either, right?
We're all slaves.
We just don't know it yet.
Yeah, you got to get rid of the president of the European Union, and she has a lot of power. It's all planned.
Another extraction.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but another extraction.
Yeah, it's leading to a stable coin in the United States, which is a fancy word for CBDC. But the stable coins are put out by private companies, but the money comes from the Federal Reserve, basically.
Got it.
And then the other countries around the world will do central bank digital currencies backed by a certain blockchain that can handle.
It's just a veil of fake security.
So, just real quick, can we get a little basic and you've been throwing the word blockchain or just chain.
Right.
Can you give them a 30 seconds of what a blockchain is?
Right. So consider like a how can we make it really simple?
Pretend you're explaining it to a
10-year-old. It's like a ledger, and the transactions are done on the ledger, and they're immutable. It's final, and it can't be reversed, basically. So a blockchain is used to do transactions, basically. Okay. So if you are sending a cross-border payment, you could use, let's say, Linea to pay the fees of the cross-border payment, and it will move quicker. It's a way to move money quicker and have finality and not rely on the trust of other companies.
Okay.
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 So it eliminates friction. Okay. There's a lot of things going on. If you send a cross-border payment from Canada to the United States, it could settle in 3 to 5 days, right? And let's say if you do a cross-border payment through a blockchain, it could instantaneous settlement.
Hmm.
So
So is that what
that's
the
what the
gas
elites want.
fees?
They want to make it a more efficient system, to
Okay.
make it go quicker finality, and it's trustless basically. So it's immutable. So you can't reverse it.
Hmm.
Once you send a transaction that goes through, you can't get it back.
Right.
You know,
So you better make sure those
you got to make sure
that
you're
account
sending it to the
numbers
right place,
right
right?
place.
Yeah.
So is that what they was referring to in early crypto years about the gas fees?
Right. They're talking about Ethereum. Ethereum was to do a transaction on Ethereum. If you are trying to make a purchase on Ethereum, okay, you have to have some Ethereum gas, and the fees, could be $5, $10, $25 for a transaction. That's why
Mm.
they're saying it's very expensive and it's not scalable. And they went from a proof of work, which is like Bitcoin mining, to a
Right.
proof of stake mechanism, where it's more efficient and the fees are less. But they started building something called the layer two. Layer two speeds up the blockchain, and it makes the gas fees less. That's why you see Polygon, you see
Mm-hmm.
Linea as a layer two. There's many Arbitrum, Optimism. These are all layer twos that move the Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum right now is the main blockchain that's going to get most of the developers that are developing on Ethereum when they build their projects, and they're getting the most, I guess, how you want to say? You want to say like action on the blockchain. Okay, but if I go back to Canton is the institutional layer. Okay, and Ethereum is more of smart contracts and development. Even though Linea is part of Ethereum, and they're going to get a nice chunk, Canton is going to get the institutional layer through the real world assets, the Nasdaq and the DTCC. So it is confusing. I'm not expecting everyone to really master blockchain. Understand that it's just going to makes everything move quicker and more efficient. The problem is when you start dealing with people's money on stablecoins, they could control your money. They could tell you to spend the money. They could turn off your money, and they could, you'd be a hostage to your own money, really.
So you basically have to learn how to be a hacker so that when you get hacked, you can steal your money back.
That sounds sexy. You know what?
I mean,
That's probably the most profound thing you said in 2026.
well, I'm done for the year now.
I mean, we're all going to have to learn how to use wallets. So
Yeah.
if the day that you start downloading a Federal Reserve wallet, you're in the beast system. Welcome to control. And then digital IDs will come. The carbon credit score will come. Like I said, they could turn off your money. If you're sitting in an electric car and you didn't pay the bill, they could turn off your car.
So,
If that's why I don't buy electric cars.
so
Because
as
I don't want
usual,
anyone
when Russ comes here, we know we're cooked.
Yeah.
Shit, man. I forget my Advil today, man.
Yeah.
That guy blows your mind off your shoulders every time.
Well, that's where they're going. They want control. So they're building a system of control. Trump was so kind.
But aren't they
Hire.
already controlling us?
Well, how with this, you still got cash, and you can still buy gold and silver. You
Okay.
could be outside the system. That's pivotal.
Okay.
You can
So-
still buy MREs, stock water, and food, and
So for those
ammo.
of us that are still in the system, in either way, and we've discussed my situation already in the past. So either, and let's say the person who's been retired 20 years, they've been living on this pension, they relied upon this pension.
Mhm.
They have some savings, but this is what they thought was going to carry them to their last
What's your
days.
pension invested in?
Yeah, the stock market.
Okay, there you go. So the
Yeah.
stock market blows up.
But will it blow up to smithereens, or is it going to blow up like 1929 and come back? I guess that's the question.
And from what I'm hearing, stock market will blow up and it'll trade sideways for 10 years. That's what I'm expecting. I
Mm,
don't expect like this great American comeback. 1929, there was no debt. How much debt do we have now? So you
all
got
all of it.
39 trillion dollars in debt. You got 160 trillion unfunded liabilities with Social Security and Medicare. The country is broke.
And the debt just went up 50 billion
Right.
while he was saying that.
Yeah. So
much
you
for
got
kicking the can
1.5
down
trillion
the
going to
road.
the military. So we all talked about how Trump was going to get it under control. That's now gone. So so they're just squeezing the lemon.
So what
Okay.
was the thing that springboarded you during COVID that just kind of forced you down all these rabbit holes? If that's probably a bad way to put it, but
When I
doing
saw
all this
when I saw
research,
Macy's get rioted,
Macy's got
yeah,
rioted.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
And
that kind of
nobody was
yeah, well, yeah.
trying to
When
stop
I
it.
when yeah, and then we had all the protests going on in the summertime. You kind of like, okay, this is not does not you know a lot of
Something didn't add
craziness.
up.
Something's not going
Yeah,
on in this
yeah.
country
Okay.
that makes sense. Something's going on, and and we all know that the COVID crisis was a glorified flu, basically, because there was no flu during that time frame. So
We pronounce it scamdemic.
Right.
Yeah, we
right,
pronounce it
right. So,
scamdemic.
and then
Yeah.
they patented the vaccine 5 years before. I mean, it's crazy
Right,
stuff.
but if you said that in 2020, you
Oh,
got
it's
banned
yeah,
from social media and
For
whatever.
sure.
So
For sure.
you know.
And we know what it is. That's just but like he said, that I think it's a good entry point because it was enough to spark you to I mean, everybody else saw the Macy's getting looted, uh, but openly. There was no it wasn't
Yeah,
no
there was no
crazy.
rule of
Yeah, it
law.
was just, hey man, we're going to get it. But most people watched that and went, you watched that and went, oh,
Yeah.
and it
I mean,
turns
here's
you
a
to
company that puts on the Thanksgiving
yeah.
parade. They do the firework, and then you're like, okay, well, you're just looting the entire department store. And I kind of felt like, okay, something's going on in
They
this
weren't even
country.
running. They would just walk out.
I was like, it was like this is crazy. So I kind of, that whole 2020 just kind of threw me for a loop, and that's, you know, it's funny because now we move into Bitcoin, and now it's coming out. I'm not sure if you heard that now they're saying that Bitcoin with our friend Easteen was now he was funding the MIT labs for the Bitcoin developers. Have you heard about that?
No, but I remember seeing, and I forget. It's a billionaire, and he's talking about if you knew who was behind Bitcoin, you
Oh,
wouldn't
you're talking
buy
about
it.
Dan Pennant, right?
Dan Pennant,
Right, right.
yeah.
So right now, Bitcoin came out. It's going to be against the central bank, this pure decentralized freedom money.
Yeah.
And now, 15 years later, now you're starting to realize
The whole
that
thing
that
was
Mr. E was funding, crazy amounts of money. Not billions. I think he paid them only $850,000 to influence the MIT developers, and so now you're starting to realize, okay, so now Bitcoin, and they were using that money, the Bitcoin money for pedophilia. So now you're like, okay, now this the story does not add up. What Bitcoin's all about, and now it's getting a little shaky, and it sounds a little funky now. And then you always hear like everyone saying it's going to go to zero. Like, how is it going to go to zero? Well, then like, who is Satoshi Nakamoto? So I guess one day we're going to find out. And if it is bad news, it will go to zero.
Maybe
So
Nakamoto was the same guy that supposedly hung himself from a doorknob.
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just saying. Wow, the
yeah,
30-second camera glitch in the
yeah. There's
sleeping
pictures of
car.
him hanging out in this country.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw that. I'm telling you. Listen,
Ugh.
we said that from the very beginning. I'm like, no way in
Yeah.
hell is that guy dead.
Well, I mean, Russ just hit on the nail on the head, which we talk about all the time, which is we don't know what may have actually happened, but we know the story we were told is not the right one.
So every story that you've been told since you were little is not true.
Yeah.
So,
That is a fact.
hopefully there'll be an awakening for you. The JFK, not true.
Not true.
9/11, not true.
Moon landing.
Moon landing,
Damn
fake.
sure not true.
Okay. If we're talking COVID, we know that's not true. All right, so they've been lying to us all along. It's basically
Natural cures for diseases.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Basically,
true. Oh, wait, never mind.
we're living through the Truman Show. We are the Truman Show.
We are the truth.
Okay, and someone's pulling the strings. Someone is the production company. They got the puppets. They're doing a great job because they're fooling 99% of the people. And obviously since 1913 they've been fooling everyone. So the Federal Reserve. This is a good little story that I've learned. So the Federal Reserve came together in 1913.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Titanic went down in 1913.
I
Right?
remember.
Okay.
I know this story.
1912. Okay. So the Federal Reserve was formed in 1913. So there were people for the Federal Reserve and against the Federal Reserve that were going on this cruise. Well, the people against the Federal Reserve got on the cruise, and the people that were people for the Federal Reserve did not get on, and the people against the Federal Reserve got on the cruise.
And then it sank.
Okay?
Mysteriously.
They sank.
Who's the last
Okay.
Who's the last person to bail out, get on that cruise ship?
Right.
J.P. Morgan. He was the last one.
So what date did the Titanic crash?
1912. What date?
April 15th.
Okay, so they love doing ironic things.
Right. So
they really do.
When they got the Federal Reserve, that was the start of income taxes.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Titanic crashed on April 15th. So there you go. There's your connection. So took out the Titanic so they could form the Federal Reserve so they can do the IRS on April 15th. Okay. So there's.
But none of those things are connected. None of those things are connected. It's all a coincidence.
It's not
just happened. You know.
So. Yeah. Huh? 1913?
No, what happened in 1914? Yeah, World War One, a banker's war, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because we got to cover it up.
Got to cover it, man. Hey, man, and nothing makes people money more than war.
That is true.
When you are that level of company, you need war.
Yeah.
You know.
Halliburton makes money that day.
Halliburton, well, it wasn't around then, but yeah, for sure.
Not in World War One.
Not in World War One, but I mean, I may have mentioned it here before. I had a relative that was working for one of those disaster companies type situation, and he used to live in Florida. He called me. He was like, "Hey, man, I need y'all to have a hurricane or something." I'm like, "Hey, what the hell are you talking about?" He's like, "Bro, we're struggling because the poles that they're making to replace, they're preparing for our disaster." And I'm like, "Man, that sucks, dog. Your only business is to hope that we get our asses kicked down here by Mother Nature so they can make money." But it's the same premise with these war companies. What they say in Vietnam, Bell Helicopter was belly up until Vietnam started. Suddenly they got these government contracts,
monster contracts.
And now, the baddest some bitches out there in 1966.
And that's your cousins that own that, right?
I wish it was. That was the wrong bells. And if we are connected, please holler at your boy.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't want to get caught in the system.
At least send them some meat. Send them a half a cow or something.
Send them something. Give me a little parcel.
Give them a quarter cow.
Give me my 40 acres and a mule. I'll take that.
So let's hop onto the silver bandwagon.
Yeah.
Which was good. So we discussed.
We are happy about that.
Yeah, saying when we first started talking about it, it was like in the high 20s.
Yep.
And it went on this. For the past year and a half, it went from like 29 up to $120, which was pretty amazing. Now, if I'm going to just repeat why is the silver and gold market so manipulated? So there's something called the COMEX exchange. Okay. And in the financial system, they have something called SLV and GLD. This is paper, gold, and silver. Okay. So what they do in this financial system is they paper over the silver and gold market. So if there is 1 million worth of silver in physical silver, they papered over the silver market 400 times, 400 million worth. So that means
sounds like FDIC insurance.
That sounds like the Federal Reserve.
Right. So what they're doing is you're just papering over the silver market, but there's not enough silver in existence. For example, on one day of trading on the COMEX with the silver market, they traded 700 million ounces of silver. That's 1 year's supply of the world's supply.
Right.
Okay. So it's complete fake. It's completely fake. It's being controlled by the world's price is being controlled by the United States and the Western financial system through the paper markets, through the silver futures and the gold futures. Okay. So right now, you have over a 400x on the paper supply. Now, what's going on now? The COMEX exchange has 100 million ounces of silver left in the vault that can be sold. And there's 400 million ounces of contracts. And according to what's going on right now, 98% of those contracts are asking for delivery. And a lot of times they never ask for delivery
Right.
and rolled into the following month, and
Mhm.
it keeps going. Well, there's a problem right now because 98% of the people are starting to ask for the delivery of the silver. So that means they would have to deliver 400 million ounces, and they only have 100 million left.
The math ain't working
Yeah.
there.
It's
Yeah.
not working anymore. So we could be looking at a COMEX default in late March. Okay. They don't have the silver at all.
Wow.
So unless they could convince other to keep this Ponzi going on and roll it over, we could be looking at a major default coming in March. Okay, because they want the silver and they need the silver because it's a shortage of silver. Because everything needs silver. Every car, every bomb, every
Batteries.
vehicle,
Yeah.
battery, Samsung's new battery coming out, and all that stuff. Silver is the transfers, and it's the most conducive metal out there.
Mhm.
So it's in a tremendous scarcity right now, and that's what we've been talking about. So the price of silver, they're manipulating so much. It was sitting between 15 and $25 for like 30, 40 years, and everyone in the silver community knew what is going on. Okay, and all of a sudden, China and Russia and all the central banks who control all the money supply are accumulating gold and silver because they know that the time is coming to an end for the reserve currency,
Mm.
and the Ponzi scheme of the Federal Reserve is coming to roost. We're at the end of the cycle. They control the money. They know what's going on. So they are immediately moving not money into the stock market, not money into the treasury market, not money into the bond market. They're moving it into physical metals. So the smart money, the people that control money throughout the world and countries are buying gold and silver. But in the United States, we're all suckered into the stock market. The suckers, and they're manipulating the stock market so everyone stays in because it's going up. But in reality, if you compare the stock market, gold and silver, the stock market is down, and the purchasing power is disappearing.
Yeah, and we talked about the value of the dollar dropping and dropping and plummeting, let's
Yeah.
say.
So the COMEX market is really a facade, and it could come to an end, or it may not. I don't know. I don't control it. But there's 400 million ounces that could be called for delivery, but there are only 100 million left. Okay, and if that happens, you have a complete COMEX market will completely disappear, and then the shift will move to the east, where it will be valued based on the physical price in China.
Wait. So if it collapses here,
Right.
they just gonna say, "Hey, East Coast, y'all taking this?"
No, they don't get it, but there's two financial systems now. You got the Western and the Eastern bloc, and China has the Shanghai markets.
Okay.
And it's based on physical price, not based on futures.
So that right, they really run on the actual
They're
metal
running on
right
the
now.
actual metal, and there's been a like a $10 to $20 spread between the silver price here and in China,
Okay.
which it always should be the same.
Right.
But the United States is a Ponzi scheme,
Yeah.
so it's running lower.
Yeah.
But in China, it's on the real price. So
Okay.
they're trying to get hold. They're trying to take control of the metals because everyone in the East is buying metals like crazy. The lines out the door. Everyone's freaking out. They're trying to get their hands on metals. But here in the United States, they're trying to get their hands
On the
on
futures.
stocks where you don't even have the certificates. You don't even own the asset.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
You don't own it.
it's just a
You
computer,
own
So-
computer
entitlements.
screen.
You don't own the asset. And so when this collapse happens, you're going to learn what holding the asset means.
Mm.
If you don't have it, you don't own it. And I can give you a perfect example. When I was in Celsius, a lot of my crypto was in Celsius, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had the asset. We didn't have possession.
That is true.
We got interest. And then when they went belly up, right? They had the asset. So if you don't have possession of the asset,
You got
you
nothing.
don't own it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a very hard lesson for millions and millions of Americans when the music stops.
So when they call for delivery, they're going to deliver only that 100
And
that
then
they
they're in
have,
default.
and then they're just going to close up shop and
They're
be
in
like,
default.
"Hey, we're
And
out of
then
money.
you're
We're
in
gone."
price discovery. You're in price
So
discovery
everybody
with
else is
yourself.
just holding paper. Is just holding paper.
They're going to
Wipe their
be
ass with it.
they'll be maybe bought out. Either they'll get nothing or they'll get bought out at some low price compared to the real silver price.
Yeah,
Right.
we
So
just experienced that. I just told them I only got like 12% of my money back when they finally
right when
settled
they
that lawsuit.
right exactly.
Yeah, I got like 12%.
So that's why you need to you need real estate's great. It's going to take a hit. Owning physical metals is great because you can get the possession. You could have it vaulted. All my silver is vaulted in different countries. Um, you can buy gold. These are hedged. You have to understand silver is money. Gold is money. And before the Federal Reserve, it was on a silver standard.
Yeah,
Okay, it wasn't on a gold standard. It was on a silver standard.
yeah. If you go
Okay,
back and watch your
so
old cowboy movies, they paid with a plug nickel, which was just a silver piece. It had nothing on it, and they bought their stuff at the saloon with a plug of silver.
Everything you're saying, Russ, makes perfect logical sense. So to me, it's like a straight line. So what is the argument against putting some of your money in silver? Like why would a financial advisor, for
because
example,
people
tell
Because
you
they
well
don't
like,
make
oh,
money.
you got a million?
they want they get 1% of your portfolio,
Yeah.
so they got to keep you in the system for that 1%. And so if they're going to move you into silver, they're going to move you into an ETF,
Mhm.
which once again you don't have the certificates.
Same
Okay, so
situation.
you're still in the system. You don't have the physical metal.
Yeah,
Now
you
there
got part of the 300 million in silver that doesn't exist.
right now
Right.
there are ETFs where there's physical silver stored in a vault, but and it's dollar for dollar. But the question is,
Where's the
when
vault?
the collapse now when the collapse happens, it's an ETF. It's pulled at the DTCC, and everything when the collapse happens, they come in overnight and swap everything out. Let's say the big banks. So it's not safe. The only way to be out of the system is physically have the product earmarked under your name. Okay. And I still believe, even though crypto is tanking like horrible, okay, at least with crypto, upon when they reopen the economy, where they're going. They're going to go to Canton, it's going to go to Linea, it's going to go to Rise, it's going to go to ISO 222 cryptos. It's when they restart the system, it's these institutions are already going to be in. It's going to be too late. They already made their investments into these cryptocurrencies.
And you're stuck.
All right, because exactly. So you got to get in now and understand where the future is going. But at least with like a crypto wallet, it's under your keys, meaning it's under your possession. And if you go to Brazil, you take your wallet codes and you go, and the money is borderless. That's a beautiful
So
thing.
when you have your crypto stored, do you use cold wallet? Do you use a different
So
type
you
of
don't want to keep it
storage?
on an exchange.
Okay.
Could once again, you don't have the keys to your crypto, so you can get a wallet, let's say an atomic wallet or Exodus. There's so many different wallets you can get on the computer, but you can get like a ledger, treasure, or a descent wallet where it is totally outside of the like the computer.
Mhm.
Now, if you're trying to go for like institutional grade, like real protection, where Bank of America, Wells Fargo, or all these institutions go, there's something called fire blocks, because there's something called quantum hacks that are coming, that they're going to be able to figure out how to break all the codes.
Yeah,
Mm.
of
So,
course.
so you got to,
You can make a
in a
code, you
couple
can
of
break a
right, in a
code.
couple of years, they're saying Bitcoin's going to get hacked. So I went into something called fire blocks, okay, which is where all the big guns, all the banks, institutions are holding their crypto. So fire blocks is by far the best one. It's not cheap. Probably most people would not do it, but then either get your offline wallet is the best way to do it, and set up your biometrics and
Mm.
stuff like that.
So you're gonna be walking around basically with a flash drive, getting on the plane, going to buy stuff in other
Well,
countries.
I mean, with my Fireblocks wallet, I have the codes. I don't need the flash drive.
You
I
just need to
I
know
have all
the
my keys. I
access.
know what the keys are,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can open up. If I decide to go to South America and I live down there, my crypto will be with me.
Mm.
It's borderless. you know. But most people use the offline wallets because it's a little more affordable. It gives you some protection. But I'm more concerned about 3 years from now when they start hacking Bitcoin, because
Right.
I've been personally hacked. I've lost. Lost. They took my quant. They took my singularity crypto. I mean, they know how to get in. When they get in, they wipe you out. And I started seeing they were sending little test transactions, and I started freaking out. And then I had to make a move and get out.
Wow.
Yeah, my cold wallet. Yeah, because I didn't set up the biometrics properly. So shame on me.
Oh my gosh.
But
But how would you know that?
they listen in through your computer. They you click the wrong email. They could see, you leave your camera on. They could see what's going on. They get your
Right.
codes that way. I mean, there's so many ways to
We
scam us.
gotta, we gotta go back to sending faxes, man.
Yeah,
Dude, this is
it's crazy. So I
crazy.
got hacked really bad, and I was like, okay, no, I got to stop this. So now
Yeah.
now I went for the top of the line
Mac
security.
Daddy.
Yeah,
pays
yeah.
right when
If they
it's
get me
hard to
here, I
fit,
give up.
and
Yeah.
all right.
But yeah.
All right.
So going back to silver, we're at a very big turning point. The reality is, silver is now 60 to 1 to gold. So that means if gold's 5,000, okay, 60 to 1. That's why we're sitting at like 75, 80. There you go, right?
$80 or whatever.
So supposedly out of the ground should be 10 to 1. So if gold's 5,000, should be sitting at 500.
Mhm.
Silver,
So
no
it's
problem.
still undervalued.
Way
Way
undervalued. Yeah, you
undervalued.
should be. If you don't have
Load up on
load up as
silver.
much as you
All
can,
right.
because we're still very low. Now keep in mind, as this crisis,
Even at this price, we're still
we haven't even started yet.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
because
we
I
haven't even
know
started yet.
they're hearing this number
Exactly.
out here.
So you understand. So what's going to happen is, as we go into the banking crisis, the Federal Reserve is going to have to print like $20 trillion to put out the
Just what we
to put
need.
out the fire, and they're gonna drain the dollar. Okay, and then what happens is the last move by the Federal Reserve, which will be to reprice gold. And I mentioned it to you.
Yeah.
You'll have gold at 35,000. You might have gold at 50,000. If they want to wipe out the U.S. debt, they got to move it to $140,000. Now, if they do that, they're going to just make China the monster.
Yeah.
Okay, so they got to be very careful. So they're letting gold run. Gold, they've been controlling gold for many, many years. All of a sudden, it's going up because the central banks are buying it, but they're letting gold run. Okay, and they're probably going to let it run to 8,000. But then when the crisis hits, there's very little they can do. There's very few moves they can do.
Are the central banks taking possession?
They are.
They're
Right, and countries are now typically leave their gold in London or in the Federal Reserve in New York, but now countries are repatriating their gold and silver back to their land. They don't trust the United States. No one trusts the United States.
And that's been for
Well,
100 years probably.
that's pretty
No,
smart.
I mean there was about
At least 50 years.
Well, when the United States and England froze 300 billion of the Russian assets, like in 22 for the Ukraine war, that was the first signal to the world that you can't trust the United States anymore.
So all we had
Right?
to do was move $100 billion, and then they decided
But did they
not
ever
to
trust us, or were we just
Well,
bullies, or were
they
we
were
just
buying
bullies?
treasuries, right?
Yeah,
When you say trust, buy treasuries, invest in America, right?
yeah.
So they stopped buying treasuries. They stopped buying our debt. China stopped buying our debt. The second shot was the tariffs. Okay. And now Trump just goes into Venezuela and takes out a sovereign nation. Now, we understand it's a communist country, and the drug trade. You know what? They've been doing drugs since, yeah.
Ever.
So that's the excuse. Okay. We are not the world's police. Yeah, we should not be the world's police.
We should not be the
Should
world's
not be the
police,
world's
but
police.
but
You can't go in. So by the United States going into Venezuela tells all the other countries, all the 130 plus countries, that we're the bully again, and that you're not safe from America. The United States can go into any country and take it over, and cause a problem.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, but like I was telling them at lunch, we don't go and disturb anybody just because you're a bad guy.
Right.
We only disturb you if you got something we want. You know,
Well, they want oil.
Yeah, we wanted that oil. We needed that oil.
They
So
can't get their oil online for 10 years.
But it doesn't matter. But you got control of it.
And we did research on it too, and we had an episode about it. I don't know if you saw it, but we were talking about the silver mines.
Yeah, but
in Venezuela, and they're like unknown.
Right.
Like there's no data on what there actually is in silver mines there, and it's expected that we could get a lot of silver out of there.
Well, they
Over
China
time.
and Russia moved all the silver that was mined out of there.
hmm
They moved it out like during Christmas.
I'm talking about the mines that are
The
not
mines,
that
yeah,
are
there's
Yeah.
supposed
they're
to be untapped
not tapped.
potential over there.
Well, the question is, our American companies are going to mine in a very unstable country, and that's what these gas companies like. Why are we going to put infrastructure and invest billions and billions of dollars when we don't have a stable country and a stable government? And that's what the problem is there.
But isn't that why they took him away? So because they're going to try to establish a stability in that country so they can mine there. I mean, otherwise, there's no need to go in there and steal a man out of his bed. Unless they're trying to put their plant in, who's going to be cooperative with their future plan because they want that oil and they want that silver.
I mean, listen, China was getting very close with Venezuela. I think they were trying to prevent them from getting too close to the United States. The whole thing with the Panama Canal. I mean, it's all going on now. So yeah, so what's happening now? It's going to be a multipolar world. You have Russia, you have China, you have the United States and North America. They're all positioning themselves for them. It won't be the United States with all the air bases around the world and controlling all the waterways. It's just not. It's going to become a multipolar world. It will be different than what we've been living through as the United States as the superpower. That's the way it's going, because the purpose of the reserve currency is to provide money for the world. And what happens with every reserve currency is they print too much money. Every reserve currency goes into hyperinflation, and it ends, and then they start the next one.
And I mean,
So,
it's not hard to see that we've been in hyperinflation for a very long time, at
well,
least a
we haven't
dozen
hit.
years.
I mean, listen,
mean,
we've been hitting inflation because everything's going up. Hyperinflation is actually will be a very sudden time
okay,
where like a barrel of cash will buy you bread. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So that happens quick without any notice. And the way we're moving to is a problem. Japan's even worse shape than the United States. So they
that's
have to
messed
hemorrhage
up.
first.
That's messed up.
Yeah,
That is
Japan is all.
not good.
So United States controls Japan basically, because of after World War II. And so there's something called the yen carry trade, where what happens is they take yen, okay, and they it's so interest rates are so low, so they take the yen, convert it to dollars, and they put it in the U.S. economy, stocks, you name it, everything. Problem is now Japan is starting to raise their interest rates, so no one knows how much is invested from the yen carry trade. So every time they raise it like 1/8 of a point, the stock market starts hemorrhaging. So Japan's like, forget about the United States. We need to save ourselves. And now this is going to it's watch Japan. Okay, this is the yen carry trade is going to be it's going to hurt the market. So yeah, it's going to get interesting.
So how do we benefit from that?
If you're in the stock market, you won't benefit.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't benefit.
But you better get in and get out before
Listen, you're at
the
the
great
highs.
taking happens.
You're at the highs because it's manipulated. The
Yeah.
whole stock market's being held up by 7 tech companies.
Yeah.
You know
the prime minister of Japan, he's into
what? He's into crypto, right?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. So the
Prime Minister of Japan is
So
into
the-
crypto. In case y'all didn't hear that.
Japan, every country has their great cryptos. Something called Jasmy, which they're saying is going to be a great crypto for Japan. They're trading at like 0.005. They're talking about a $17 price. I don't know where they get that from, but listen, people know something more than I know.
For
but the other-
0.005, it's probably worth rolling the dice.
yeah,
right?
rolling $1,000, right?
Yeah.
XRP is tied into Japan, so that's a good thing. XRP, Jasmine's a big one. Just trying to think of others. Those are the only two that really come into mind when you start talking,
Okay.
Japan with digital assets. But yeah, so we got a lot of so I would say starting in April, when the Fed stops injecting the banking system with money, the cancer will start coming out. So you start watching the economy April forward as the Fed stops injecting. The banks are illiquid, and they're funding the repo market to keep it liquid.
Yeah.
And they're planning on pulling the plug in April. So it's like watching someone pass away, and it takes a day or two to die, In this case, it's going to be about a year. So you're going to start watching our economy like,
How will
slow drip.
how will big ticket items and pricing be affected by all this? What's your
Well, luxury
should I
items-
buy a car tomorrow or should I wait 6 months or a year and then buy it for a tenth of the price because the market crashed?
I mean, listen, I got a 2014 car with 200,000 miles on it. I have no interest
In
of
buying,
getting
yeah, you
getting
don't
in
want to
a
buy.
car loan of 50, 60 grand. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try to keep fixing my car.
You don't want any
No,
depreciating assets. I understand.
So, listen, upon the collapse, there'll be a lot of cars that people are gonna repossess because they can't make the payment. You're gonna be able to buy homes that are dirt cheap. You're gonna be able to buy a lot of assets. If you're in silver and gold, you'll be able to do that.
That's what I was getting at.
If you're in silver, you'll
So
be
you
able
got
to
to
give
walk
a couple.
into the bank with a truckload of silver
You give a
behind
couple
you.
of coins for a house.
There you
Yeah.
go. 3 ounces of silver can buy you a house. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Crazy.
So try to be, and this is very hard because the system wants you to be in debt. Try to be in as little debt as possible going into this reset. Very important. If you can pay off your house, which is very hard to do because technically you don't own the house, the banks own the house. So here we
Right.
go again, possession of the asset.
The bank,
Yeah.
the insurance
Right.
company,
So
the
technically-
government owns your house. Everybody else owns your house.
Right. So you don't own the house. So you don't really have possession of the house. So you're going to lose on a collapse. They could take the house.
That's insane.
Okay, so it's scary stuff, but it's all written in law. Everything here is law that I'm talking about. The way
Yeah, but who
all the
reads
laws
that?
are written about the possession of the of with the stocks and the bonds. It's all built into the Dodd-Frank Act. It's all there. No one ever reads it.
Yeah.
But there is a mechanism to as the derivative complex comes apart overnight, take your assets to protect the big banks. You're not that important.
Jesus, that's scary. So I got another one. Speaking of the Bitcoin, XRP, and all of the what I like to call the OG the OG cryptos. Are they, with all this new stuff coming in, are they worth holding?
What's an OG? What do you
It's
mean?
like the XRPs, the things we had back in 2017.
If you're
the
ISO
Bitcoins,
compliant, your HBAR, your
HBAR,
XOLAG,
yeah.
XRP, your Quant, what else we can say? DAG,
Yeah.
IOTA, Algorand. I'm just reeling off
Yeah,
all
no.
these cryptos. They're compliant. They're the ISO cryptos. Maybe they're not going to be as big as I originally thought because of the Canton networks
Right.
But you remember, you got a lot of different countries. Not everyone follows the United States. I'm talking with these cryptos following the United States. Now, if you're England might like Quant. They might like XRP. They might have if I'm talking about Israel, they're talking about Cody being the shekel. Okay, and you're talking about Brazil running CBDs on rails. Okay, so every country will pick their winners. Australia's talking about their CBDC on Red Belly Network. So you know what? If you do your research, you see the pilots going on with the CBDCs. You make the investment in the cryptos. But if you're going to sit in Bitcoin and Ethereum, great, okay, safe, very blue chips, but they're not going to get you the multiplier upon the adoption.
Okay, so that's kind of what the question. So they'll be there. They'll be stable. They'll be the
Bitcoin.
They'll be the Coca-Colas.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't predict the future. I think you got a hack coming. You're starting to tie it into Epstein. I am not a big fan of Bitcoin. I don't have any. I have Bitcoin Cash. That's peer to peer. It's a lot faster. It can be used by retail, and it's decentralized. It's really really much better than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is really slow, even though they're trying to speed it up and they're trying to work with the developers. I just think there's major problems coming for Bitcoin. Who wants to be associated?
With child
Yeah.
molestation and pedophilia?
It's-
Probably not too many people.
Well, if you're in that world, you do. It's just like just like going to the Diddy party. First, it was a oh man, I got invited to the Diddy party. Till you got invited to the Diddy party. Then you're like, oh shit, what am I? Yeah,
You
what
got
am I do?
PTSD from a certain situation,
No, not me, man.
there, big
Hey,
brother?
man, I ain't never been there, but I'm just saying it was the same way with this crypto market.
I must have had you confused with LeBron. Sorry.
It was
You might get someone knocking on your door one day.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to have Bitcoin back in the day. Now it's like Do I really want this Bitcoin? Am I going to dump it today? You know what I mean? Because I still got my little 12% or whatever I got back for that money. Still got a little Bitcoin left in there. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's with all
Uncertain
of this
times.
movement, it's so uncertain. It's scary. I mean, it's scary for those of us who are reaching this time of a certain age, and you know, you can't really afford a
Reset.
restart. You know, because man, your great working days were 30 years ago. Your great working days. You can still move, but you can get out there. You know, now you're talking about becoming an electrician because they need to power all of these new this power hungry things so we can charge all this stuff. Become an electrician, move to LA before the Olympics. You can go get a great
Well,
career out there
how about
because they're building
these?
a smart country right out there in LA
Well, how
where those
about
convenient fires happened.
Yeah, yeah.
well, how about
I
the?
agree.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that, the Hawaii thing. There's like all
Convenient
that
fires.
stuff.
Look
Yeah.
at what's happening in Hawaii.
But you know
Well, those fires
the
were
roofs that had blue
smart
tops.
country.
Oh
They did
yeah,
not
blue
burn.
top roofs.
Exactly.
That's
That's
right.
so that's why I'm telling you how convenient it is. Because that's where that smart network is going to be powered and run through. And they're begging for electricians out there because they don't have enough people to really the cash is there for them to do it, but they don't have enough people. They can only go as fast as the people that they have to install it. So kids, school sucks for you right now. Get your ass in electrician school, man. You can go out there and make. You're gonna be the new doctor in 5 years.
And read a bunch of business books so you can have other electricians working for you.
You know, I've sold many type of contractors, and I could tell you, and I deal a lot with private equity. Private equity are looking for AI resistant companies, and those companies are the trades.
That's right.
Okay, so if you're a young person, learn the trade, work for someone for 10 years, get mature,
Yeah.
learn your trade, get the hours in, and as you're able to start your own if you get the proper licensing or have a qualifier. But when you're mature enough to run your own company, then that's great. There'll be an age that's right, 30, 40 years old, but you will always have work. AI can't fix plumbing. AI can't put on a roof.
That's right.
AI can't paint a house. And you know, even though of all dystopian stuff that's going on, people are still going to live. They're going to have to. It's going to be a different financial system. You're going to have to deal with how to handle your money, but the trades are a very safe place to be. So, you know, a lot of people want to come out of schooling, of college and high school, and go into white collar jobs. A lot of jobs are going to be eliminated. So,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with being in the trades. I know a lot of trade people that made 100 grand, make millions of dollars a
Yes.
year. It's a beautiful career. You're going to work hard. You'll get, and you know, after a long career, you can sell your company for a lot of money. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, when I tell you, it is very important because there's so many people that are not doing the trades. This is an opportunity now for the young people to do something different and not follow the masses.
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing lending and looking at their financial statements like you do now and
Yeah,
in business brokerage, I was shocked
they do very well.
sometimes. And I was a young, when I first started in lending, I was in my early 20s and I was like, why don't I own a storage facility?
Yeah.
Why don't I own a contracting business? Why don't I own a landscaping business? They were printing money.
Mhm.
Yeah, very good industries. Yeah.
And I don't know, but I assume that some of the money they got was cash and I never saw it on their financial statement.
Hey,
Right? I
There's always
mean,
a cash equation.
could be, couldn't be.
I
Yeah,
assume I'm just making an assumption. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
saying that's a fact,
yeah. And they
but
still, even what they reported was quite impressive.
that's correct.
And but you know, again, listening to all of the power experts out here, they're all saying the same thing. For hey, look, if you're 18 to 25-year-old young man, young lady, go into one of these trades because a lot of surgeons I know are already preparing for
well,
what
because
they're
the
going to
robots are
next.
coming out, they're
The
going to be doing it.
robots are coming to take over surgery. And they're like, man, the electrician is going to be the new surgeon
Yeah.
in
Well,
5 to
but
10 years because you got to power this
if they can
AI.
program the machines to do surgeries, why can't they program them to mow your lawn and
Well,
do
they
your
are. They got
landscaping
residential
and all
robots
like
rolling lawns now.
so like
Yeah, they're delivering your
well like
food
why can't
already.
they build a mechanic robot that can do everything a mechanic can do?
AI,
It can't. You know, I don't think it could. it can cut the grass, but it can't do the the
It
other
can't
tree
fix an
trimming
engine.
or
It can't
Yeah,
fix
the
an
other
engine.
stuff you got to do.
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean,
All
listen,
right.
hey, you got. I have the
I don't think it
ego.
could fix the toilet either, right?
I don't know.
The ego stuff. They don't even run on gas no more.
Yeah.
So the next move is to go a robot.
I mean, you're telling me you can't program a drone to paint a house? You said you can't paint a house with AI. Why not just make a drone?
I haven't seen it yet.
On
But
the
I haven't
fire
seen it
truck-
yet either, but it could come.
On the fire truck, we're using battery operated tools now.
well,
I mean, and they're powerful enough to rip these cars apart off of battery. 15 years ago, I would have
Didn't
never dreamed that.
didn't exist.
how much
Yeah.
silver is in those batteries?
Oh my God. God. But these are, so you're talking about 40-volt batteries. They're getting ready to come out with even bigger batteries, which is going to take more silver. So we need to go ahead and cash in on these things.
All
But
right.
I'm just saying, I mean, the cycle is moving faster than we could even imagine. I mean, think about it. I'm a Gen Xer, man. We came up, we had uh, dial-up telephones that we did this with.
Rotary.
Then you got to this, and then you got wireless. Even just wireless in the house. Before then, we've seen so many changes happen
Technology.
in the past, 60 years that it's mind-boggling. It's really mind-boggling. So I can only imagine what this next generation is going to happen, because if it happened that light year speed for us, now the technology is that much more advanced. Hell,
Problem is
it would be the Jetsons.
the technology is going to be used against the people.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The people that are controlling the technology, what their master plan is to keep us under control.
The same power families
Right.
that
So,
started this thing.
and that's why you get rid of cash. Get rid of all this physical, so you bring it on the blockchain. It's control. It's all about control. And so that's why things are changing. It's what used to take 30 years to happen is now happening in 6 months. So things are moving a lot quicker. That are working against the people who think this one man's a savior, and we know what we're talking about, is part of the club. Okay, it's part of the club. I give up. I give up on voting. I don't think it really helps anymore. It's just it's very depressing, to hear what they're planning on doing and try to control the people, try to control your travel, try to do the carbon credits, do all this type of stuff, control your money, control your movement, move into smart cities, try to control what you eat, turn off your money. I mean, it may sound stupid today and it may sound crazy. Play this video in 3 to 5 years. You're not gonna,
Yeah.
you're gonna say, oh my God.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's scary stuff.
So I wanted to tap on one more thing. Speaking of young folks and moving forward, what with this AI market coming in so strong, if we do have a couple of intelligent kids that because everybody, how do they get involved in AI? What kind of
Well,
things?
AI is changing so much that it's hard. How do you keep up? You go to college for AI. By the time you're out of 4 years, it's outdated.
Well, we already know.
I mean, that's been
20 years
yeah,
ago.
no,
Computer
more,
science was
yeah.
garbage back in the day.
Yeah.
But now it's all certification stuff. So is it just going to be come in the office and prove to me what you can do? You got a great job. No certifications needed. I mean,
Listen, Excel spreadsheets were the hottest thing ever
Hottest
when I
mysteries.
was in college, and I
Yeah.
could count on one hand how many times I've used those things in my life.
Yeah.
Like,
And so that's what I'm
I
saying.
spent a whole semester learning how to
Learning.
manipulate Excel and write equations, and
you probably still can't manipulate because you don't know.
I mean,
Don't know at all.
like,
Well,
yeah, like,
I remember my guy had a college degree in computer science, and off the Comp USA he went. Because man, that's where you went with your computer science degree at that point.
And where's Comp USA now?
Yeah, in the
It's a relic.
doldrums of hell.
That's right.
So
they're hanging out with
How's
Blockbuster.
that stock?
They're hanging out with Blockbuster and Kodak.
and these are major companies back then. So I mean, listen,
you don't evolve with the times.
You better adapt or you're dead.
That's Toys R Us.
Yeah.
There's a lot more coming. Yeah, a lot more coming. So listen, life is changing and it's moving real fast. And if you're not gonna prepare yourself for what's coming, you're gonna be left behind. And most important, like your financial net worth is very important. I'm telling you what's going to happen in the future. I can't tell you when. I can kind of give you an estimate. I think a currency crisis is planned for sometime in 27. You'll have the Crypto Clarity Act. It'll be all clear. Now they're just fighting. It's one big acting job right now to delay. The XRP lawsuit was a big acting job. All this, it's all acting. They're all puppets. It's all
The
written in the cards.
circus. There
It's
it
all going to
is.
probably happen in 27. Watch the economy in the last 8 months of the year. It's going to slowly, like I said, coming off life support and slowly dying. You're going to see a lot of events. Okay. Any major event that happens, false flag or unusual stuff, ask yourself, this is weird. There's probably something behind this. Don't believe the Main Street media. Okay. I'll give you I think I talked about it. Remember that train in Ohio that went off the
Yeah,
track
you
Mhm.
did.
and then
Yeah.
all the smoke went up and chemicals. My kids were at school in Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
The year before, there was a movie done by the Obamas about
Mhm.
a train going off in the same town. In the same town, they made the movie with the train going off the track and blowing up.
Yeah.
So everything is planned. It's all laid out. Okay, maybe watch a few Simpson episodes. That will pretty much
Oh,
tell you what's going to
yes.
happen.
The
Okay,
Simpsons.
it's going to tell you what
Yes.
happened. I think even if you watch South Park, there was a video on South Park where the little kid goes into a bank, he gives the check, and the guy, blah, 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 blah. Now it's gone. Okay, so yes, I mean they tell you, it tells you the future. I know it sounds so stupid that
But it's
they're putting
true.
it through the cartoons, okay, but they're telling you they have to tell you what happens in the future. You listen to the World Economic Forum, you see what they're planning. They're planning crypto. They tell you what they're going to do in advance. They talked about the great COVID problems. You go back to the 2012 opening ceremonies of the Olympics. They showed you COVID. They showed everyone on beds and hospitals, and they showed
Mm.
the COVID. They showed it there. So they give you signs. Okay. The question is, are you looking?
Well, damn. I was going to ask him to wrap it up, but he just wrapped it, put a bow on it, and
Yeah.
put it on the shelf to be able to buy it with some crypto.
It's underneath the Christmas tree already.
Wow. That is.
But we know where to go after crypto. Saving a lot of people a lot of time.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't promise the price action. It's a long-term thing. We don't know when they're going to pull the plug. We know they're building the rails of the next financial system on the digital platforms. You follow where the banks are going. If you follow with the central banks, what they're doing and what the big banks are doing and who are investing in these digital assets, you'll find a pathway that all makes sense and you know where to invest. So it's
Mm.
intimidating, but if you see who's behind the crypto, Coinbase Ventures, Arrington Capital, Pantera Capital, you start seeing all these names that are big money. Circle, which is the stablecoin company, something's going on. You got something there. If you see J.P. Morgan, you see Citibank, Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, HSBC. If they're all on their websites, so you can kind of figure out something's coming down the pipeline. So
If it walks like a duck,
yeah,
acts like a duck, and talks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it might be a duck.
Quite possibly.
Quite
Let's
possibly.
pluck them and cook them.
so
We're already cooked.
yeah. So silver and gold to preserve your wealth for the collapse, and then the digital assets will become the norm post collapse.
Nothing's changed except a couple of new cryptocurrency names. That's what I heard
Wow.
today. So yeah.
Once again, Russ has walked in the door and just completely decapitated us with information once again. And man, you know what? As usual, we're just gonna have to preset him up for like every 6 months because
6 months, like
because we gotta
every
let
2 or 3
we gotta
months,
let it build
man.
up. We got to let it
have something
build
to
up.
talk about,
Yeah, you
right?
got to let it build
I'm
up
sure
because
that we could come up with something.
yeah, we could.
Maybe
but
listen. Maybe next time we come when silver's sitting at $200 an ounce, then
Yeah, there it is.
we'll be talking.
Because at that point, I'll be smiling a little happier at that point.
We
'Cause I'll
all
have
will be.
more silver in my pocket.
The
But
people that don't listen to this episode are not gonna smile.
no, but hey, man, listen. All you can do is tell them that it's some water over there and there's a fishing pole. You can go over there and fish if you want. You know, so that's all we're doing. Is course, because all of this is for entertainment purposes only.
None
So
of this is true, right?
absolutely none of it.
Coincidences. We're just
This is
experts in coincidence.
we are
That's
expert in coincidence. So hey, you do with it what you will. You research it, you laugh at it, whatever the case may be. I hope you enjoyed this episode because we will have Russ back here to do it again to prove his theories, correct or wrong. And that we love to do. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you share these episodes with everybody again. We thank you for being here, Russ. Appreciate it, my man.
Thank you.
Thanks so
All
much,
right.
Russ.
Thank you.
And
My
listen,
pleasure.
go eat some steak, go buy some silver,
Yeah.
turn your TV off because the news is BS, and we'll catch you next week on Podcast Twins.